when it comes to time, I hear this all the time, and it's one of my buttons, right? My hot buttons, because I believe that people make excuses for certain days of the year, and they put it at a certain level of importance that is higher than what they're telling me they want to happen. And so I have to question what's more important. And so one of the things I've always come back to tell people, if you kind of want to know how to make decisions with your time, is this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this podcast. I'm excited for this particular one because it's a subject that it's come up a lot of times in the past. And that is the difference of what allows some people to have success in network marketing and why other people struggle, right? And the theme of this one is why you're never going to get what you want. Here's what I mean by that. When you want something versus needing something, it's a different mindset and it's different activity. So I have people all the time tell me, I want to grow an organization. Like, I want to build a team. I'm good at selling product, but I'm having a hard time struggling. I want to build a team. Or I want to rank advanced this month, which is just another way of saying is I want to make more money this month. I want to do this. I want to do that. And my observation is, while sometimes people do get kind of things happen sometimes without them really planning for it, the majority of time, the only people that have big success and long-term success are the people who have a different mindset. It's out of a need or necessity mindset. And let me give you a couple examples outside of network marketing that might make sense for you. And then I'm going to give you 3 tips on how you will get what you need, like how to change a want to a need, because that's really what we need to do here. We got to go from I want to I need. And once that happens, and you can interchange the word need for have to have, like I have to have this, or this has to happen. So let me give you a few examples of the difference between wants and needs. I have, for the longest time, wanted to have like a 6-pack of abs, right? Like just shredded, just ripped, right? I think that might be something that a lot of people would like to have. But have I ever had it? And the answer is no, I haven't. And it's because I want to have it, not because I need to have it. And the main reason for me is I enjoy food. Like I don't want to put myself through the discipline necessary, the diet necessary to get the 6-pack, to miss out on the enjoyment I have with meals. For instance, last night, Mexican food, nachos, beer. So, for many years, I've just worked out just so that I can maintain my weight. And maybe some of you guys might understand that or feel that or do the same. You work out just to kind of maintain and stay comfortable. And that's what we're talking about here, is the level of how important something is to you in your life has everything to do with the activity or the discipline necessary to attain it. Okay. I'll give you another example. I want to learn another language. And in the past, I've been pretty serious about it. I've had a tutor in the past. I've done the apps, but I haven't done it I haven't mastered another language because I really don't have a big enough need to do it. Like, the time and the effort to learn another language is pretty significant. And I'm allocating that time to build business. And I know there's some out there that say, if you learn another language, your business will get bigger. Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to learn another language. Now, what would happen though, if for some reason I had to leave the United States or an English speaking country and I had to permanently live in another country where they didn't speak English. Well, now my desire to want to learn another language would change to a need. Like you got to eat, you got to get through life, right? Which means you're going to have to learn how to communicate in whatever language it is. So yes, if you stick me in Brazil, I'm going to have to learn Portuguese. Now, I was in Brazil for a couple weeks, many years ago, and within a couple weeks, I started to pick up some of the language, and maybe could even do a little shopping, right? So I think you're starting to get my point between a want and a need. You can talk about children a little bit. There's some things as parents that it's instinctual in you. No one wants to provide for their children as a parent. So this is the flip side. This isn't the six pack of abs. This isn't the other language. This is the flip side. This is no one that has a child wants to take care of them and protect them. They're going to at all costs. It's not like let me think about it. Am I going to provide for my child? Am I going to protect my child? No, there's no thinking about it. It's instinctual. It's going to happen. Nothing gets in the way. That goes back to the level of priority that we're talking about. So this is the dance that an entrepreneur has to dance. And that is, how bad do you want something? And what are you willing to do to get it? Because we are all able. The question is, are we willing, right? So that's why a lot of people have struggles in network marketing, is because they really don't need it to happen. Maybe they're in a situation where the money in the family is not too bad. There's another source of income coming in, and they would like to have the freedom of network marketing. They would like to build a team that would give you the more money, the more freedom, the significance of training and helping and impacting other lives. That's all things that they would want to happen, but they don't need it to happen. Almost every time I see a situation where someone doesn't need the income or doesn't need the time, they struggle. But when people have to have something happen and they pour into their business, like, I need for this to work, the outcome is usually different. So how do we change? How do we go from I want to I need without those circumstances, like without your financial, like, what if you're in a situation where there's enough money coming into the house? How do you go from I'm comfortable to I need this to happen, right? I'm gonna give you a few tips, and I'm gonna keep coming back to this illustration of maybe the six pack of abs, maybe the foreign language, and for the parents out there raising a children, because I think those three things kind of like are things a lot of people would like to have, and maybe some of you understand what I'm saying when it comes to this. So the first thing is there's three things, right? There's three things you're going to have to do to change from I want to rank advance, or I want to build a team, or I want to do whatever, to I need to. First thing it's going to do is you're going to need time. Number one is you're going to have to make time for whatever you need to happen. All right. And so I love talking about time, because it's the one thing that we all are equals in. Like, some of you that are listening to this have a higher IQ than me. Some of you that are listening to this have a different educational background than me. We're from different backgrounds, different the way we were raised, the money we came from, the areas of the world we came from, all different, right? But the one thing that every person on earth has in common is time. We all have the same amount of time. And truly, how you decide to use that time will determine if you get what you need. Okay. So here's some examples, though, that we need to talk about. I have seen many, many, many times in the past where there are events that people want to attend, or maybe there's seasons of the year that is typical for their area to participate in, like around the holidays. Some countries have very extended holidays, and instead of what should maybe be days in some countries, are literally weeks or months in other countries. And so I just want you to think about this, guys. Like, we're coming in right now into some summer months, right? Right now, as I'm recording this, we're in July. I had to think about it. We're in July. So, July in the US, it's a lot of travel. Kids are out of school. And I'm hearing a lot of business owners, especially in network marketing, um, that are saying, yeah, people aren't getting back with me. The team's a little distracted. They're out on vacations. The kids are out of school, blah, 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 which is very, very true. But let's go back to the six pack of abs. If I want a six pack, can I train really hard for a few months? And then can I eat and drink whatever I want in June and July and August while the kids are out of school and expect to have the ripped six pack of abs? Or can I study a foreign language for a few months and then take 3 or 4 months off and expect to progress? No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, one cheeseburger does not make you fat, but one a day for a few months does. And that's what we're talking about here is, like, when it comes to time, I hear this all the time, and it's one of my buttons, right? My hot buttons, because I believe that people make excuses for certain days of the year, and they put it at a certain level of importance that is higher than what they're telling me they want to happen. And so I have to question what's more important. And so one of the things I've always come back to tell people, if you kind of want to know how to make decisions with your time, is this. Um, when it comes to seasons of the year, days of the year, um, if you could call the bank, like, could you, July, right? July is a busy time, as we said. Kids are out of school, things are going on, people are distracted in their business. Does that mean we don't have to pay the rent in July? Does it mean that the bank doesn't collect the mortgage in July? Like, yeah, the bank, like, can you imagine Wells Fargo? They're like, yeah, I know July is a really busy month. And so, everyone that has a mortgage with us, they just don't have to worry about paying the mortgage this month because everybody's distracted and busy, hard to work. Is that happening? Any mortgage company? Are we relieved of our mortgage payments because it's a busy month with the kids? And I know this may be a little harsh. And I honestly, guys, this is the third time I've recorded this podcast, this message, because the first two times I said some things that I think was a little bit too harsh. So I'm really filtering this down right now for you guys, because if you're listening to the Freedom Factory, it's because you're looking for freedom from the 9 to 5 grind. You're looking to get out of the rat race. And I am here to tell you, as long as you're thinking and acting like the rest of the masses, you're going to get what the rest of the masses have. Like, if a certain day or season is a time to shut it down and just be distracted because everybody else is distracted, well, then how in the world could you possibly think that your circumstances are going to change or be different than theirs? That's crazy. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but you're not going to get what you need. You're going to continue to get what you deserve. And that is exactly where you are right now. And we're not talking about sacrificing the priorities in your life. If you don't know anything about me yet, go do some research. I have I have things in priority in my life over money, right? My faith, my family come way before my business. Okay. So I'm not saying that you get your life all out of whack, but I am saying that you cannot look at things, days on a calendar, seasons of the year, the way other people look at them and accept them as the truth. They're not true. Business and opportunity, like, does Wall Street shut down in June and July? Does the financial markets around the world shut down because it's a busy time of year? Or let's say during, like, the holidays, the winter holidays in the US, it's a couple weeks there, but I don't think Wall Street shuts down for a few weeks. It continues to go. And so just remember, there's a balance here. And what my message to you, I am a very, like, when it comes to my time, I am very balanced and very structured so that I can keep my batteries charged. My priorities are in line. But when it comes to business, I don't let a day on a calendar prioritize my goals because it's just a certain day on a calendar or a season of the month. Okay. And so the first thing, guys, is you're going to have to make time. If you want to change your wants to your needs, you cannot fall into the trap of others. Like, oh, yeah, it's Saturday, it's the weekend. Like, you can't live for the weekend. And every weekend that comes, you live like all the other people live on the weekend, because then you're going to have to work like them Monday through Friday to only live for the weekend. And that's what you're trying to get out of. That's what we're trying to get away from, is that rat race. Why can't we live every day of the week the way you want to live them, not just Saturday and Sunday? I know some of you are already working. Like, the world has gone to almost a 7-day work week anyway, because the economy has gotten so tough. The second thing, guys, so number one, you're gonna have to make time. Second thing is, this becomes daily activity for you. If you want to change your wants to needs, like if you're actually going to get whatever it is you're wanting to get, you're going to have to work at it daily. Okay, so let's go back to the diet. And I kind of alluded to it, right? You cannot eat really clean one day and then really bad the next, and then really clean for a few days and then really bad the next, and expect to get the ripped 6-pack abs. You can't do it. It won't happen. And I mean, unless you're just genetically, born with a metabolism that allows you to have it. But we're not talking about that situation. Okay. And if you are, maybe if you are that type person that can eat whatever you want and you've got the 6-pack of abs, let's talk about language, foreign language. Okay. Can you study, if you're trying to learn another language, can you study one day and then take 2 or 3 days off, and then study another day and take 2 or 3 days and learn the language? And when I mean like speaking, I know a lot of people that spoke a language and then they get away from it for a little bit and they lose it. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And so it is so important that if you've got something you really need in your life, like you're trying to accomplish, you have to allocate a little bit of time to it every day. Every day. Because a day, if you're not careful, will turn into a week of inactivity. And then the week turns into a month. And then you're finding yourself having to start all over. Like, if you're the person that's constantly having to relaunch your business, I can almost assure you it's because you've fallen into the trap of a day turns into a week and turns into a month. So just make the decision that every day you're going to give a little bit of time to whatever it is you need to happen in your life. Okay. Before it even becomes a need, right? Like, that's what we're trying to avoid. With this podcast, I'm trying to help you avoid the situation where you have to, like, it has to happen type thing in reality, because that's a catastrophe. Like, most people are told that maybe have a heart condition, like, to change their diet, clean up their diet, clean up your diet. If you don't, you're putting yourself in harm. And it's not until they actually have the heart attack that they change their diet. That's what I'm trying to help you guys not have. Like, I don't want you to have the catastrophe event in your life before you take advantage of what's in front of you right now already. Wouldn't it be wiser for someone with a heart condition to start implementing before the heart attack the change in diet? Yes, that's easiest. That's easy to say and understand. And that's what I'm trying to help you guys with this podcast is, I don't want you to be in the crisis of a life before you actually start taking the time and doing the daily activities that will get you what you need, because no one wants to be in crisis. And you don't have to be in crisis in order to get what you need. You just have to apply some of the things I'm telling you. Number one, you've got to set aside time. You got to change the way you're spending your time right now. Whatever you're doing today, you got to change it tomorrow and forever until you accomplish whatever it is you're set out to accomplish. Number two, you got to work on it daily. It's got to be something that's on your mind daily. Things that are important to you, think about every day. And lastly, I will tell you, you got to burn the bridges. Like, if you want to change a want to a need, you've got to change how serious you are about making this happen. Meaning, it's not, I want it to happen. It's going to happen. And let me tell you, this was one of the things that helped me mindset wise um, accomplish what we've accomplished in network marketing. Is there was a point, I think 6 months in, 10 months in, where I was driving and I just had this overwhelming like fear. And it was a good fear. If fear is a good thing, if it because it can drive the right behavior with the right mindset. I had this overwhelming fear that I had to make my network marketing opportunity work for me because I had told enough people already that it was going to work, that it was a significant product and it was a significant company opportunity, that there was no way a year was going to go by or 3 or 4 years was going to go by and I would see this person again at a restaurant and they were going to say, "Hey, how's that thing going for you?" And I was going to say, "Oh, yeah, that didn't work. You were right. You were right. That it wasn't a great product and it wasn't a great opportunity. You're right. I shouldn't have done it." That wasn't going to happen. Like I had told enough people it was going to happen that it was going to happen no matter what. It was going to happen. And I've heard so many incredible entrepreneurs kind of tell their story this same way, and that is an entrepreneur can make a bad decision, like they can get involved in a not so good opportunity and they just figure it out. They make it work. They make it successful. And that's what you're going to have to do with your network marketing opportunity. It's not going to fall in your lap. You're not going to get this if you just want it. You're going to have to make this happen. We made it happen. We burned the bridges. It was going to happen. There wasn't a back door escape on this thing. That's the mindset you guys need. If you want to build a team, if you want the next rank, you need to declare it to the world. You need to tell everyone you can, I am building a team. I am getting to this rank. I am building this network marketing opportunity. Declare it publicly. Tell people, tell a lot of people. And then if you value your reputation, then you're going to make it happen. See, that was what I wanted. I wanted this thing to work so that when I did talk to people, the roles were going to be reversed. When they said, "Hey, how's that thing going?" I would be able to say, "Oh, it did exactly what I told you it was going to do," or it was bigger than I even told you. It's gone really well. Because I can't tell you how many times I told people, "Oh yeah, it's going really well." They were like, "Really? Really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah. It's my full-time income. It's all my income comes from it." They were like, "What?" Yeah. And those conversations were more enjoyable to me than the rank advancements and way more than the money, because it's not a guys, once you're making more money than you were making before in your previous job, whatever it is, whatever you're doing in your 9 to 5, once you're making more than that in network marketing, it's not about Lamborghinis and all these big dollars. It's not about that, because at some point there's only so much money you need to live on. It's not about making this enormous amount of money, but it is very much about your reputation, your character, and you doing what you say you're going to do. Because if you don't do what you say you're going to do, it makes it harder the next time you try to launch something or do something. Because regardless of whatever you do, whether it's network marketing or any other opportunity, if you're the guy or girl that does something and you don't stick with it and it fails and people keep asking, "How'd that go?" "Oh, the restaurant failed." "Oh no, the nail salon, that failed." "The food truck business, oh no, that failed." Then you just become the person that things don't work out for. You got to change that. And the way to change it is the 3 things I just told you. You got to change, "I want this to work," to "it's going to work. I need this to work." Because once it gets to a need, like you need to protect your children and you need to provide for your children, then you no longer have to worry about it not working. It's going to work because there's no turning back. There's no looking back. It's whatever it takes. And I'm telling you that if you want to just nail the one thing that I have found in network marketing that separates the winners from the people who are not winning, it's that the winners don't want this to happen. They need it to happen from a mental state. Mentally, it's done. And then they just go do the things necessary to make it happen. And so I hope you guys can apply this in your business. I hope you enjoyed this message today. and look for ways to implement these three things. And I will assure you that you'll be much closer to getting what you quote unquote wanted, because now it's a need. And once it's a need, it's done. You guys, thank you for joining the podcast. I hope you enjoy these podcasts. We're putting a lot of effort into them. And if you would, write us a review, give us a 5-star. If you're liking this, share it out with people. I would love to get your feedback. Hit me up in Messenger or DM me. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to know whatever topics you might like us to cover or guests we can interview. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.